Hello again, Rich Gray, Bob Kemp here at University of Phoenix Stadium. Last week of Cardinals camp it's almost over. Amazingly, we're in the final week. It's been a long 3 weeks.
Maybe if I lived on this side of town, it would be not quite as long.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. The Cardinals back at it. They're taking on the Chargers this week, facing their old coach, which we'll get into more as the week kind of progresses. But start off basically, a couple guys returned who've been out for a couple of days.
Yeah, we have some returns and still out, and some new additions too. Let's start with the guys that came back today: Jonathan Amaya, Javier Arenas, Rashad Johnson, Carlos Dansby, Corey Sperry, Dan Williams, and Ricky Lumpkin all came back today. As far as guys who are still out or new to being out, Andre Roberts, more on him in a minute. Jared Dillard, who's not going to play this week, he still has the concussion situation. Ryan Williams, as always, more on him in a minute. Dan Giordano, Reggie Walker was out for the first time today. I'm not sure what's up with him. Jeff King and Frosty Rucker, those guys still out at this point. So let's kind of go back. Let's start with Ryan Williams. This morning, Bruce Arians said
he wasn't expecting Williams to play this week or return to practice at all this week. It was very discouraging. And then after practice, Williams says he's hoping to play, that he can get back. He called what's been bothering him the fatty pad underneath his knee. I'm sure Ryan Williams doesn't, but whatever.
Okay.
He's
called me in a few years.
I think the most interesting thing that Ryan Williams says, he's still getting a lot of support and encouragement from the coaching staff and from the players. It's just they're more frustrated at the situation than they are with him.
According to him.
According to him.
The coach sounds highly frustrated.
Yes.
And you'll hear the coach's frustration tomorrow at 9:15 during the Cardinals training camp report. And the poll question tomorrow is, should they get rid of him now?
So Williams, again, he's taking the optimistic approach, but he has really since the beginning of camp.
Andre Roberts, not mentioned this morning as being injured, and he was not participating this afternoon. He rode the stationary bike for the first half hour or so. They have a little period, right down there, in fact, to the left, is where the injured guys hang out, most of them at least, before practice, if they're not getting in, having treatment inside. And he did the stationary bike thing, and then after that he walked around, didn't seem to be limping at all, had no noticeable bandages anywhere or wrappings, so I'm guessing that's just a minor thing. I did see him go down early in that game and not get up right away, but he stayed in the game at that point, so I'm not sure what was wrong.
Now the Cardinals this afternoon, they were only in shells this practice. What were a couple things that kind of you caught?
Well, one thing is that the first team was out there a lot more today than we've seen in maybe any practice. I don't know if that's as a punishment from Saturday or the fact that they're going to play in the second half this upcoming Saturday. I'm guessing the latter, since they will get an opportunity to do, quote, halftime adjustments or whatever, assuming those actually happen in preseason games. But that they were out there considerably more than we have seen. Also, it's hard to throw an interception on 7-on-7 drills, but Palmer did that today. Tony Jefferson, he can catch the ball, folks. He had 2 picks the other day and 1 today of Palmer. Stanton wasn't really, he was probably actually worse. There should have been 2 picks that were batted into the air. One turned out to be an incomplete pass. The other actually turned out to be a completion when Justin Bethel just whiffed on the ball. And I guess the guy that was probably the most accurate today but had the least reps was Ryan Lindley. Number 3.
So as you mentioned, and more on Arians and Williams in tomorrow's show, but what else should everybody be looking forward to?
Well, there's, Arians also talked about the little spillover from Saturday, more about the offensive inefficiency, and the accountability list, which we talked about a little bit last week, and then that's been a buzzword around here.
Yeah.
There's actually a list itself. And you'll hear the origin of a little background on that tomorrow, also at 9:15. We'll get into the Reds-Diamondbacks series a lot, in at least 3 segments tomorrow, the top of the second and third hours, and we'll get an update from Cincinnati on the Reds at 11:15 tomorrow. And the college previews continue. We've made it to the SEC, the Kings of the Mountaintop. And we'll cover the West tomorrow since we already did Alabama, the first show of our college series. We'll get into Texas A&M. Anything going on there?
They have some quarterback.
Yeah, let's see if this guy's done anything in the offseason or what he hasn't done in the offseason. And we'll also talk about Mississippi, who had the top recruiting class in the country amidst controversy. And we'll see if they're legit. A lot of people are picking them to be a sleeper to win 9-10 games this year. We'll see if that's legit.
I will say, though, before we wrap up, the accountability buzzword, I like that more than grit or work in progress. It's an upgrade, I think.
We got the work in progress from Arians on Saturday, though.
That's true.
Yeah, that was what it was. You said it twice.
Yeah, that's not good. Not good.
And same page. It was like in the same sentence almost. My least two favorite phrases in the same sentence. I just almost cringed.
All right, so there's only 3 more days of Cards Camp out in Glendale.
Maybe.
We'll see.
Well, I'm starting to wonder though. They're not. This is an option to explore later in the week. Are they practicing enough?
I don't know.
They cut these practices short almost every day.
Yeah.
And last week they did like a full Tuesday, and didn't practice Wednesday. They cut it short 45 minutes on Thursday. Didn't practice on Friday and sucked on Saturday. Anything to that?
Maybe. I don't know.
We'll investigate.
There you go. So for Bob Kemp, I'm Rich Gray. This has been another Cards Camp video blog on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060. We will talk to you tomorrow.